We're here with Lester Rowe, a member of the class of 2026 for the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame. Lester, when you got the phone call that said, hey, guess what? We want to induct you in our Hall of Fame, what were some of the first things that went through your mind?
Excitement, really, really appreciative. Ron Bertovich called me and said, hey, you've been nominated. So I was excited about that.
Sure.
Just to be nominated to the Hall of Fame is an honor in itself. And then when I received a phone call and said you were selected, I was really, really happy.
Well, that's great. And who's the first person you told?
My wife, of course.
Of course. Good answer. Good answer. And what did she say?
She was really excited. We've known each other since 1982. And, was pleasantly surprised. She watched me play in college, and, over the years, we kept in contact with each other. And then I finally got smart and married her.
There you go. Took a few years for you to figure that out, huh?
Yeah.
So let's rewind a little bit back to your playing days in Buffalo, and you were a high school standout, certainly, that put you on the radar to go to West Virginia. But talk about playing in Western New York back in those days, and some of the competition and the guys you played against, and was really a high level basketball in the city of Buffalo, in high school basketball then, and what was that like? What do you recall from those days and playing in those games and in those leagues?
Well, it was super competitive. We had a lot of really good athletes in the city. Tyrone Beeman, Ray Hall, just a lot of extremely talented basketball players. And, you always wanted to go out and compete against the best people and try to get better. We always would just get together and laugh and joke and have pizzas. But when it came time to go on a basketball court, we competed against each other, and then we'd go have a slice of pizza and some wings somewhere.
Yeah, right. And you probably played in all the leagues, right? You played in the school leagues and everything else, but then you're probably in a park during the summer playing every day as well, and it just never ended, right?
Oh, it was always, with Jimmy Williams playing against those guys at Delaware Park, and then going over to the JFK Center, and we would go play any place that we could find a game at. And it was always some really talented people there playing. We just all loved to be out of the house, running around, playing basketball or football or baseball or whatever season it was.
Yeah. So, yeah. Did you play other sports in high school?
No. They tried to get me to play football, and I left that up to Glenn Taplin and those guys. I was like, no, thank you. I'm not running across the middle to catch a ball that Glenn threw real high.
Yeah. And your basketball and football career, maybe.
Both.
Right, exactly. And then as you were the Buffalo News Player of the Year, co-player of the year, right? Was that with Ray Hall?
With Ray Hall.
Yeah, okay. And then you went to West Virginia, but what other places, were there other places looking at you? Was that a tough decision?
I had always had a dream of playing college basketball. And what really, really put me on the map is I went to 5-star camp with Howard Garfinkel and played really well that week. And then I started getting letters from schools all across the country. Right. I probably had, 400, 500, 600 letters in boxes from Tennessee, from West Virginia, UCLA, Duke, Notre Dame, North Carolina State, and it was an exciting time. It was stressful though, because, you're getting ready to make one of the biggest decisions that you'll make in your life.
And back then when you made that decision, you stayed there for 4 years. Like, it wasn't like now where you're like, I'll try this place for a year and then we'll go somewhere else. That was different then.
Oh, it was definitely different. And once you made a commitment someplace, in my mind and the way that I was raised, when you make a commitment, you stick it out, and that's what builds character. Everything's not going to be an easy street for you. And, and as a result of that, I think that's the reason I had a lot of success after basketball is because, you figure things out when it get tough.
Yeah, right. And who else of all those 600 letters you got? Who else was in your running that you were trying to decide?
Well, it really came down to West Virginia, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee.
Okay,
And
right.
I wanted to stay close enough to Buffalo to where if I needed to get home to see my family, I could. And, after going through the whole recruiting process, I made a connection with the coaching staff and the environment in West Virginia, and I made that decision to go to school there.
That's great. And we don't get too far into it, but the decision to go there. What are some of your best memories there about playing for West Virginia? And when you look back, these many years now,
So
what do you recall as your best memories of being a
the
Mountaineer?
the people,
Yeah,
the people were unbelievable. They support, the athletic department at WVU wholeheartedly. It's one of the few states that don't have a professional basketball team or
sure.
football team or baseball team or hockey. So West Virginia University athletics was the professional sports for the state, and the people came out and supported us unbelievably. My freshman year was a dream there. We went 27-4, um, had the longest winning streak in the nation that year, and beat UNLV on national TV when there was only one game of the week. And we just so happened to have that game after the NBA All-Star game. So yeah, it was in the building, the Coliseum. It's magic. There's magic in that gym.
And you mentioned people. We talk when we talk with people. It's amazing when we talk about sports and the impact it has, but it always comes back to people. Like
Yes.
it's not the points or the rebounds or the whatever. It's always the people that you remember the most. And what did those people, whether it's the coach or the trainer or whoever else, what do they mean to you personally, and that you kind of look back on?
Well, they not only were they my basketball coaches, and a lot of these people I still contact now. Coach Catlett, Bill Morgan, Bob Smith. Those were the people that took me in as a young man and turned me into, a successful student athlete. And I owe a lot to those people because, they were your parents away from home.
Sure.
I lost my dad when I was 13 years old to lung cancer. He worked at Chevrolet. And so I grew up from the age of 13 with my mom, and that's tough, to lose your parent, and then for me to be fortunate enough to meet some people like Gail Catlin and like Spider Morgan and Bob Smith, who took me in as a really a kid and turned me into a young man, and a lot of the things that they taught me helped me throughout my career.
And then we'll transition a little bit too, because I think that's a great segue. Is you then became a coach,
Yes.
and how much of what they did for you were you able to pull into your own operation as you worked with young men and young women, because you coach women's basketball as well? But how much of that um, did you look back and go, geez, that's something that this coach would have said to me? I can't believe I've put it in the back of my head and just brought it out now and thought about that.
Well, I it's funny you asked me that question because I never considered even becoming a college basketball coach, and I had finished my career in Europe, and I actually was a salesperson with West Virginia Radio Corporation in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I was, selling advertisement. And Coach Callett and I had kept in contact over all of the years that I played overseas. And he contacted me and he asked me, he said, "Have you ever thought about coaching?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "Well, I have a position on my staff that may become available. Would you be interested?" I said, "Well, Coach, I'm always interested in talking with you. Yeah, I'll sit down and talk." And one thing led to another, and he gave me my first opportunity to become a college basketball coach in the Big East. So I jumped in with both feet,
Yeah, right.
and it was a wonderful experience.
And
Yeah.
then you went on to women coach women's, right? Women's
Yes.
basketball and be involved in that. What are the differences for you between the coach in the men's game and the women's game, and what did you draw from those two different experiences?
Well, the guys are so talented and so athletic, and the biggest difference I found was the athleticism and the difference mentally between the guys and the females. We could go in the locker room and, we could say, hey, we're not doing A, B, C right. And all of the guys are looking around saying, hey, coach not talking to me. He's talking to you other guys. But when you said A, B, and C in the locker room to women, they all said, I know coach is talking about me. So,
well, that's
yeah,
that's you when you mentioned about marrying your wife and being smart doing that. That may be the same kind of mindset. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not me. And she's going, yeah, it is you. This one is you.
Yeah.
This is on you.
Yeah.
And there's a different energy. I just in watching there's a different energy watching men's athletics and women's athletics. Women tend to cheer more for each other. They tend to there's a different energy watching, whether it's baseball, softball, basketball, whatever, that I sense as a fan anyway. And talk about that a little bit, or if that's true. That may not be true for you, but.
Well, the guys are so talented. They could make a mistake, and their athletic ability, they could catch up and make it right. So I don't think the men, not all of them, but some guys don't pay as much attention to detail as women.
Right.
Women pay attention to details that you give them in the scouting report, and they remember everything, as you all know.
Right.
So, you can give them information, and I think they took advantage of the educational portion of it, because at the time when I just finished coaching a couple years ago, the WNBA has just taken off, and those opportunities weren't there for women. Most of their collegiate careers. So they knew after their 4 or 5 years of playing sports in college, they were going to go out into the professional field of their choosing. So
yeah, they were done playing. They were done playing at that point.
They were done playing at that point, and they knew that their productivity was going to be in the workplace outside of athletics on the court.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a major difference. I know that was a major difference. All of the guys in the locker room said they're going to the league. It could be your 15th player.
Yeah, but
they were all going to make it to the NBA, and the females were like, "Well, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever field they chose." For after athletics.
Well, and before we wrap this part of it up, because I think this is interesting, how much pleasure do you get now, or I don't know, reinforcement about what you did when you see the success of the WNBA, that these women now have a place to go play and continue with the talent that they've cultivated and grown, that you can see them perform at an even higher level, and what kind of feeling do you get from that, knowing that you probably played a little bit of a role in developing that?
Yeah, and it's humbling, because first and foremost, as a coach, you wear many different hats. So, you have an opportunity to form these young ladies and young men to be successful people in society later on in life. And I've been fortunate enough to, coach some players that have played in the WNBA: Asia Bussey, Tyneese Martin, Tiana Monroe, Lene Montgomery, Kaiser Gunjacek. So it's really, really gratifying to know that you played a part in their development and helped them get to that stage. It's humbling. Because I see a lot of those young ladies that's playing in the WNBA now that I actually recruited that went to other schools. Right. So you cheer, you have a connection to it. And it's really, really humbling that, that you've that you've had that kind of exposure in people's lives.
Yeah, and the women now are standing on the shoulders of the people that you helped get to the WNBA, and that's how it works, right? That somebody paved the way for them, and you were part of that. That's fantastic. So we did the press event for the Hall of Fame dinner, which is the Thursday, the 24th of September, coming up. It's quick here, be here about a month or so. What have you had to think about since the press event? What's been in your mind, the phone calls you've gotten, the text messages, and kind of the electricity in and around getting ready for the event?
It's a super special day. Number one, that's my wedding anniversary, by the way.
Oh, very nice.
On the 24th of September.
Tell your wife you're taking her to dinner for your wedding anniversary. That worked out perfectly then.
Absolutely.
Except you're the one getting the jewelry that night. That's the difference.
And then, to have that and to be inducted into, the Hall of Fame on that day is really, really special. The electricity behind it has been wonderful. I was excited about it. And then when I came to the press conference and I seen the turnout for the press conference and all of the energy in the building and all of the people that's going to be inducted in this class, I started to really get excited about it at that point, because it came full circle. What an honor that it is to be considered for the Hall of Fame and then actually start going through the induction process. The toughest part for me has been the 5-minute limit. How do you sum up what you've done over 40, 50 years in 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
So,
right.
I'm going to have to, I'm still putting that together in my brain, but we'll make it happen.
We know that's a challenge, and it makes the dinner. I'm sure that you'll figure that out. And when you talk about the dinner, anybody special that you know of in your head already who said, "Oh, Lester, I'm absolutely going to be there. I wouldn't miss this for the world." That kind of surprised you, or anybody like that? Maybe not, but
well, you know what? My family support.
Yeah,
I have people coming in from all different parts of the country, and they've been my rock for a long, long time, my entire life. My college coach, Gil Catlett, may attend. He traveled a lot, and he said, "I'm going to do everything I can to make it to that." So, we'll see what happens, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun event, and really looking forward to it.
Well, it's great. We're looking forward to it too. Lester Rowe, a member of the class of 2026 of the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks for spending some time with us today from Pittsburgh. We'll see you soon.
You're more than welcome. God bless you guys, and looking forward to seeing you on September 24th. It's going to be a special day.
It will be. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.